President Bola Tinubu receives governors and National Assembly leaders, nudges them on local government administration.
I'm committed again to do much better, work harder, and raise the intellectual inclusiveness to serve our nation.
Expect positive results on your socio-economic lives, Vice President Kashim Shettima assures Nigerians.
I believe we have turned the corner, and inshallah we shall have a very robust economic activities in the new year.
And as Nigerians ushering the new year, the clergy urges on hope for a better country.
Nigeria Today, we shall examine managing personal expenses.
And we all say amen to the Vice President's prayers. Shume, let me start with you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I've not seen you since last year.
That was
A year ago. It's a year ago. I've not seen a year ago. I don't just understand why we all. What happened overnight that we're all wearing blue? They say blue is the color of royalty too.
Oh, blue is the color of royalty. I agree. So 2020 is gone. Was a year that was tested, and of course tested many Nigerians' faith and resilience. It's 1 year one would never forget in a hurry, and there's so many reasons. Topmost, inflation, high cost of living, blah 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 blah.
It goes on and on, and families, companies, and organizations all felt the brunt. Nobody was spared. While some took advantage of the situation, some groaned under the weight of so many surprises like no more fuel subsidy.
Absolutely. It was indeed survival of the fittest, if we may say so. Nigerians had to tighten their belts and cope with the times. And it's still a journey of redemption, for many. And as 2025 comes, of course, in all its glory.
Indeed, in all its glory. And the stage is set. And the rat race continues. But the question is, how well can we hold forth and plan decisively with our finances and expenses this year, Claire?
Oh, yeah. They say January is usually the longest month. Maybe it's 2 months combined, and so, of course, everyone, is cautious. And, money is one currency that sometimes, determines your state of mind. It's not just sometimes, it does determine your state of mind. It can also evoke a range of emotions for many of us, especially if you don't have them. And sometimes also the anxiety grows when living through economically fragile times.
And Claire, just like the game of chess, uncertainty looms when money is concerned, and families and business owners have to make certain hard decisions to either escape from debt or run right into it.
That. It's another year, and many are already apprehensive of how they can't quickly manage their finances or expenses, if you may, to reduce tension, anxiety, avoid unwanted circumstances, including, of course, problems at home, schools, schools, and so on and so forth. So today on Good Morning Nigeria, it's a very good day to discuss managing personal finances, and it's a tip or two after this program might help you, save you a lot of stress, and provide you with more insight on how you can forge ahead, even as government and, of course, the MDAs, try to find ways to implement the very robust strategies, development strategies that they have, put in place for us. So, let me again warmly welcome you to the program. For those of you joining us today, let me say Happy New Year to you and thank you for joining us. I am Claire Adilabu.
Of course, I want to do that. And second day of the new year, so Happy New Year to everyone out there watching us from everywhere you're watching. And I'm Jumwe Yusuf. We're transmitting live on the network service of the NTA here in Abuja. And in the course of the program, the usual review of newspapers will come up with Chukudi, Chuk the Boy. But for now, let's begin with the highlights of the morning news with Comfort Amadou. Hello, Comfort, Blue Lady.
Comfort also has a touch of blue.
Yeah, it's a blue day.
And of course, the 2025 and President Bola Tinubu is urging state governors to energize and encourage local government administrations in their respective states to fast-track a holistic grassroots development across the country. The President was addressing the governors who paid him festive homage at his Lagos residence. The President also received leaders of the National Assembly.
I'm committed again to do much better, work harder, embrace the intellectual inclusiveness to serve our nation and be more courageous in everything we do. And we are resolute. And we will be there. We will take Nigeria to that promised land. We do.
Vice President Kashim Shettima is also assuring Nigerians that the country's economy is now primed for a drastic turnaround in the new year. The number 2 citizen who was with his principal in Lagos for the New Year celebrations is also joining the President to receive visitors, speaking to State House correspondents. Afterwards, Vice President Shettima says the renewed Hope administration has taken tough decisions in the interest of Nigerians, and the citizens will now begin to witness the positive results on their socio-economic lives.
And inshallah, we shall have a very robust economic activities in the new year. I believe Nigerians will prosper. The economy has started picking up, and in the coming weeks and months, Nigerians will start smiling for the better. We are working assiduously with the National Assembly to come up with robust solutions to our national challenges. There is no nation that is immune to the economic headwinds across the world.
And towards having a robust and blessed year, clergies in Abuja are asking Nigerians to exercise faith in God and be hopeful for a better country.
God is ready to increase our comfort, to suit our pains, and to relieve us of all our sorrow.
I come to encourage us Nigerians. Let's not give up hope. Let's not give up on life. Let's not give up. Nigeria can be great.
Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu has described 2025 as a year of prosperity and abundance, urging Nigerians to rise above their differences and rebuild bridges of love, respect and understanding that connects them. In her New Year message, where she felicitates Nigerians, the First Lady assured that the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is truly committed to reforms that will unlock the nation's economic potentials. And she called on the citizens to stand together, lifting each other up and ensuring no one is left behind. Those are the news highlights for now. Good morning. Nigeria continues with Claire and Jume after this break. Good morning.
As this year draws to a close, we would like to express our sincere gratitude for your continued support. From breaking news to heartwarming stories, we are committed to bringing you credible content and delivering captivating programs that keep you glued to your screens. Our team is committed to providing exceptional service to delight our clients. We say thank you to those who have supported us through the year, from government agencies to corporate clients, political parties, religious bodies, and, most importantly, our viewers. As we welcome the new year, we look ahead with a promise to bring you the best in broadcasting as we continue this journey with you. Citizens' greetings from all of us at NTA.
Hey Nigeria, ready to breathe cleaner air and save money? Let's talk about gas. Ride with CNG, the smart, cost-effective choice. Fill up for less and travel further. Save money, save the planet. Switch to LPG for cooking. It's cleaner, healthier, and better for the environment. Say goodbye to smoke and eye problems. Do you know Nigeria is a gas station ranked 9th globally with over 209 trillion cubic feet of gas reserve? Gas isn't just for cooking and driving. It empowers industries too. Cleaner, cheaper, and more efficient. And the best part, conversion centers are popping up everywhere. It's never been easier to switch to gas. Join the cleaner energy revolution. Choose LPG for cooking and CNG for your vehicles. Clean energy for a brighter future. This message is brought to you by the Office of the Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Gas, supported by the Nigeria Ministry and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA.
Why do we have to arrange all the goodies into a tower? We should all take what we want, as we want, and when we want.
From Pets, it's important to secure the goodies and protect them for everyone. We want to make sure there's enough for everyone, even on a rainy day.
I don't see the point.
Oh no! Our tower! No! From Pets!
Oh, sorry.
This is a perfect example of how one poor choice can bring down something so great.
And our small good action can make a big difference.
Remember, everyone, let's focus on making the right choices and doing small acts of goodness. Together, we can build something even more magnificent for everyone and ensure that it lasts.
For the counsel of our fathers,
I will urge and advise our younger generation to use talent and brain to sort out problems, not arms.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
Nigeria means a lot to me.
And Nigeria means peaceful cohesion.
My country.
We will continue to pray and then hopefully we will come to understand that unity of purpose, unity of living together. Our ethnic beliefs and background and culture is our strength. Ever since the revolution period of 1914 to date, about 109 years ago, the people of Nigeria live very peacefully with one another.
I think diversity helps a lot to enhance robust development in Nigeria.
All over the country, you have so many ethnic groups, over 250. That is enough to tell you that this is a blessed country, and that God has kept together as one indivisible entity.
This Saturday, Crystal Palace.
It's Mateta, step over, has got him away from Greaves. Oh, what a finish.
Chelsea.
Okay, Palmer, Jackson, 1-0, 8 for Chelsea, and Jackson squares it.
Crystal Palace versus Chelsea. Live on 40 TV. 40Bet sponsors coverage of the English Premier League.
All right, thank you once again for being our guest on Good Morning Nigeria. Please don't go away. Newspaper review is coming up shortly.
Newspaper reviewer Chukwudi Okolubaja is in the studio. Good morning, Mr. Blue.
I think we have to take a break from just the ball to Happy New Year, everybody. That's my aim. Because you are in a rush.
The Happy New Year is special for you.
She mentioned something about the blue color.
Yes.
And indeed, almost all presenters on this show today, have a touch of blue. And it will appear that the god of color, whispered the dress code to all of us. Because even outside, the lab studio, the crew members are also wearing blue, a touch of blue. Whether the different shades, whether it's sky or navy or royal.
Isn't it amazing? Let's pick
the blue color radiates confidence, radiates calm, radiates
the
royalty.
puzzle is we didn't share telephone call.
That's what I'm saying.
To determine this.
Gods of color.
In linguistics, when we're talking about the enjoyer script, NKCU Waje Doctor told us about what they call seamless diffusion, where two things happen at the same time in discovery when nobody contacted the other person. The human mind really travels.
It does.
Well, that's what we say. Intuitive knowledge. You can
philosophy.
Yes, you can have that intuition. Okay.
Okay.
Let me.
The peoples are speaking. Let's go to the People's Daily. We'll begin with this morning with the People's Daily, and just below the masthead, we have New Year 2025. Atiku charges Nigerians to actively participate in safeguarding the nation's democracy. Find details on page 4. NSA shows of renewed focus in terror fight in 2025, as also on page 5. And the headlines in the People's Daily: Can to Nigerians return to God for a renewed nation in 2025. You find the details also on page 5. And going down at the bottom plate of the People's Daily, FG to launch massive value reorientation program in 2025. Find details on page 2. ECOWAS approves increased compensation for passengers affected by flight cancellation, as the detail on page 19. And FG to establish credit guarantee company targets 15% inflation in 2025. Find the details on page 18. And 2024, police arrest 575 suspects, recover 142 items in Sokoto. Find the details on page 7. And New Year gift: Zulum clears 8 billion retirement benefit backlog owed teachers' orders. The details also on page 8. Let's quickly go to the Blueprint newspaper, and above the masthead, police apprehend cab driver targeting female passengers in Rivers. Find details on page 14. And below the masthead, news: infrastructure security top wikis 2025 agenda for FCT. Find the details on page 6. Naira stability, lower inflation to shape economy in 2025. Details on page 24. Chan, Home Eagles open camp on Monday. Details on page 32. And Tinubu to governors: we won't fight. Control your local governments, fulfill expectations at grassroots. And also vows to take Nigeria to the promised lands. He commends the National Assembly. And NSA lauds security agencies assures of enhanced security in 2024. And the headlines: how Nigerian government secured release of seized $6 million arms funds by the U.S. Riders judge orders release of money with accrued interest within 60 days. At the bottom plate of the blueprint, First Lady delegation welcomes first FCT baby of the year 2025. It is on page 15. 2026 Gabo, I have better deal for Ekiti, Otumba Fayoshe. It is on page 6. ASU to FG, meet our expectation to avert another crisis. It is on page 7. Arrest farmers trading off government's agri inputs. KB governor tells security operatives. And the picture story, see there, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu receiving an autographed glove from former world heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua during the latter's visit to the president at his Iko residence in Lagos on Wednesday. Claire?
Yes, thank you. I'll just take a few of the stories that you don't have on the front page of Blueprint. But let's look at leadership. Tariff hikes, competition, others may define ICT sector in 2025. Now, the lead story: we can't defeat terrorism without citizen support. That's Ribadu. New Year, the governor's renewed commitment to good governance is on page 4. Roll out plans, promise better deal, and you hold the power to drive economic growth. That's according to President Tinubu. And then, of course, there are other stories. Jume Red Remi Tinubu, that's the First Lady, unveils first baby of the year. Bauchi governor's stepmother dies at 120. Now, the picture story there is the pictures of fun seekers celebrating the new year in one of the parks in Abuja. And I thought, Chuchuks, looking at the picture story there, that's a very brilliant photographer there. Very, very brilliant. And you see the children and their parents, you see the queues, all of them having fun. What a way to usher in the new year. I thought that was a brilliant job done by the photographer.
I like the way you're praising photojournalism. People think that syntax and the delivery, lead presentation. The photo can say a lot that words cannot say.
Precisely. So let's begin. Which is your take? I
don't want to sound ecclesiastical, but I think I like.
I like that.
To God for a renewed nation in 2025. There's this Reverend Father Davis. He just put out something, and he's talking about showbiz men taking over reins of power across the world. I'm not going to talk about
I know we're going. Yeah, I know we're going to.
Saw that clip, and he said it is okay for us to usher in rock and roll bands into the church, other worship places, and shake our boogie, to rock music, without necessarily becoming more godly. But at the end of the day, that's not going to save us. Religion became a fashion. We must really commit to God. I said I didn't come here to sound like Pastor Chukwudi Okuniwaja, but when you switch me on, we can talk God.
Returning to God. Let's not take it on the surface. Let's look at it deeply. What does it mean to return to God? It means to adhere strictly to the faith and principles, fundamental principles that underlie your faith. And it includes sacrifice. It includes, integrity. It includes being your brother's keeper. It includes collective, supporting, good deeds. And doing acts of, kindness.
Just capital.
Yes.
Love your neighbor as yourself.
Every other person, every other thing is included.
It's included. So don't just look at it as, okay, it's every day you go and pray, or you go to the church or to the mosque and you pray. No.
I actually tell people, pray for your enemy. That is the climax. Wish repentance for that person.
Yes.
Pray for them.
Return to the moral values.
You experience an internal glow you cannot describe yourself. Yes. You don't know why it's there.
Yes.
So I pray that we'll listen to that, because we are mouthing God, as it were, at many of our worship centers. We really need to act godly.
I like the president's message to maybe you have it on Blueprint. Yes, maybe we could also talk about it. President Tinubu told the governors won't fight.
Yes, won't fight. That's the People's Daily.
Yeah.
They won't fight.
Yes, but control,
yes.
You know,
the local government.
Your local government.
Yes.
The grassroots.
The thing is, if autonomy is being given to you, please do not abuse it.
Yeah.
That layer of governance is actually the one that, articulates, or rather, conjugates with the people. Let me borrow that word from, the French language. That is where there is communion, direct communion between government and the people. We tend to overlook it. We tend to take it for granted. So the autonomy given to them is something that the president is saying, use it. We're not going to try to control you, but please do that which is best.
And do not interfere. That's why it's practically telling the governors, do not interfere.
This morning, as we were coming, I was listening attentively to the conversation in the car between my colleagues, and it was the subject of discussion, how the autonomy, how the local government council chairman will, from this month, when they begin to receive the allocations directly, will be held directly accountable, and then of course how they will extricate themselves, from the control of the executives.
It's a good one.
Henceforth. So it was a robust discussion, and
going to be a
in the past.
It's a good one, but
disengagement won't be easy.
If there is still a nexus between who gets elected and one person who sits at one state house somewhere, there is still a problem. If the governor can still control who becomes local government chairman somewhere. So electorally, we have to take that autonomy to a final conclusion.
Yes, one of my colleagues, I think it's Godwin, that said, if something happens and we are able to take control of how the election is conducted at that level. Right now we still have the state governors or having some control over the elections.
They do.
But if that body is taken away from the governors, that would also add great value.
That's the point we're making. Yes. After that, any local government official that misbehaves is on their own. There's massive value reorientation program in 2025. I stopped asking, where is the National Orientation Agency? I saw a clip. A man was talking to a group of Ugandan children. Some people said, Pat Hell. They were talking about the things plaguing Uganda. Pat Hells. They mentioned so many things. Then the man turned and said, you are the ones to change the situation.
Yes.
It was not indoctrination. We need the National Orientation Agency to evaluate what we are doing, or rather reassess what we are doing and see what we can do by way of telling our children, this is not who we have always been.
I've had to repeat this here on the program about the renewed NOA, and I've seen an animated promo about water wastage. And it's a promo, it's an animated promo that appeals to the young, to our children.
That's
who are in the habit of, leaving the taps to run and all that. And just before we round off, I know they say, First Lady unveils first baby of the year. This morning when I was watching it, a thought came to me. Should we say it's first baby of the year? Because in other states, I know the states, first ladies of other states are also receiving the first baby. But even in the local, in the remote villages, you have babies that are even born before this.
Of course, now. Record keeping is key.
But some might not have given birth in the hospital.
That's the point you're making. There's no way that you can include those ones within the birth register, or there's no way you will know who actually came first, because people in the remote villages could actually have had the first baby.
Yeah, this first baby was born 1226.
At the National Hospital?
No.
Asokoro Hospital.
Maybe there was a baby born 1201.
In other hospitals.
Somewhere.
Director, this is 2025. Thank you. We'll hear you.
Yeah, we've heard you.
Let's
So,
take a
Chooks the
break.
boy.
You know, I love
Thank you
being
so
with
much
you
for
ladies. I've always been a ladies
Well,
man.
it's time
come
for
to
you
think
to
of it.
go. Take a step, ladies man. Yes, ladies man. Well, we return our conversation on how to manage your expenses in 2024. Very important. We'll come back. You heard about it.
For an oath to serve our fatherland and defend the people that traded their freedom, comfortable homes and mortgaged their lives on the battleground for our unity and peaceful living. These are the great, loyal and committed Nigerian armed forces who risked their lives courageously to safeguard our borders. But in the line of duty, many never returned. Nigerians, arise, let's celebrate our fallen heroes. Put on the remembrance emblem to support the incapacitated and families of our fallen heroes.
Thank you for your patriotic commitment to Nigerian unity, stability, and progress.
Parastatals, religious and corporate bodies to donate generously to the Emblem Appeal Launch. Send your donations to these accounts. Account name, Emblem Appeal Launch. Account number 393-200-7526. EcoBank Nigeria PLC. We rise, the land of the free, we know they tire. We do grace, our spirit is undying.
Resilient, rooted like bounty. We swear in God, we turn that hidden back. We make solutions, we make passion, yeah. It's a nation, we know how to do solution. We are Nigeria.
I am the Real Nigerian. Brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
I think Amaka should just move out of the house.
Yes. No. Sending out of the house is not the right thing to do.
Oh, there you go again with your sentimental family stuff.
Baby, if our aim is to stop this affair, it is best achieved under our roof.
You do something terrible, and you'll be acting innocent.
What are you going on about?
Don't ask me that question again. You couldn't even control yourself in the presence of our visitors.
What are you accusing me of, woman?
My son, I don't know how serious you are with my daughter. But there's something that needs to be done urgently before you move any further.
Anything, just anything, just say it. I'm ready to do anything.
There is a spell that needs to be removed.
Spell.
Family forever. The story of our lives.
The counsel of our fathers.
My advice to these young people is please do not take us back to those harrowing days. You probably do not know what it is.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
You have to move from the point where you protect and defend your religion to a point where you also recognize the rights of the other person, of the other religion, and protect it. So if I am protecting my own territory and my own people and trying to emphasize their rights and protect their rights, I should also be thinking about how to protect the rights of the others.
Both Islam and Christianity recognize and refer to God, and both recognize the temporariness of the life of this world, and that ultimately we all go back to God for the day of reckoning, when everybody will render an account of his life on this temporary abode.
This Saturday, Crystal Palace.
Mateta, step over, is running away from Greaves. Oh, what a finish.
Chelsea.
Palmer, Jackson, 1-0. Made for Chelsea, and Jackson squares in.
Crystal Palace versus Chelsea. Live on Sporty TV. Sportybet sponsors coverage of the English Premier League.
You're watching Good Morning Nigeria, and to kickstart our conversation this morning, let's take this background report by Ibrahim Belogunda.
Managing personal expenses can sometimes be challenging, considering various choices one has to make in order to meet financial obligations, which, if not properly handled, can lead to devastating effect on the living condition of the family or individuals, with multiple effect on the future. Managing personal expenses is the process of planning and managing personal financial activities, such as income generation, spending, savings, investment, among others. For an individual, setting up a budget helps to keep track of income, when and what to spend on, and how to avoid going into the red, as well as maintaining a savings for trying times. There are many tips on how to manage personal expenses from financial experts and motivational speakers, encouraging good spending lifestyle or routine that will not leave individuals or family living a fake life or in debt. It is also worthy to put into perception that not understanding how to manage finances has led many to accumulate enormous debt and put their future and that of their family off balance. How should one manage his personal expenses this new year? What are the consequences of reckless spending, and how can wrong financial steps affect the present and future of families? These and more will be some of the questions guests on Good Morning Nigeria will add their perspective to.
You heard it all. So let's begin our conversation with introductions. We have here, of course, Dr. Korede Martins, Diplomacy and Human Capital Development expert, who joins us here in the studio. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
All right.
Good morning.
And we also have seated here in the studio regular Dr. Emeka Okengwu. He's a development economist. Thank you so much. Happy New Year.
It's always a pleasure to be here. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Nigeria.
And joining us from our local jazz studio is Professor John Alabi. He's a management consultant and chairman of Council Institute of Classics Entrepreneurship, Nigeria. You're welcome to Good Morning Nigeria. Happy New Year.
Good morning, Nigeria. Thanks for having me.
All right. Take it up.
Let's just have an idea, we're in 2025 and we've had a lot of knocks, in 2024, and Nigerians are still reeling from that impact. What are our expectations on managing, our expenses, and how should we do that in 2025? If we're not ready in 2024, are we ready now? Dr. Emeka.
The assumption would be that you have this thing to manage. That would be the first assumption.
You have the what?
You have the money to manage.
Okay.
That would be the presumption. But that might not be fair. It might not be a fair assumption or presumption. So I think it's important that we declassify and then probably segment this management we're talking about. Those who have and those who are hopeful to have. You'll be shocked that there are people who do not see a full 10,000 naira year in, year out, okay, month by month. There are also people who must step out on a daily basis to be able to earn 1,000 or 2 before they can go home and then do a meal. So I don't think we should just use one brush and talk about, okay, we might be very, very unfair to a lot of people, including even those of us who are sitting in this room. Because if you want to take it statistically, and you are earning anything less than 300,000, okay, and you live within the urban and suburban areas, and you have a family of 6, only your electricity cost will take the 300,000. if you are not very careful. Only your transport cost will take the 300,000 if you are not careful. Why I'm giving this background is to say it is not only the poor people that are in this, wage, because somebody was saying, get your family into debt. I think I heard it in the intro, and then another. So I think, in my own perspective and opinion, it will be the support systems that we need to look at to be able to now hedge whatever it is you have. This is beautiful Claire and beautiful Hajia, looking so well for the studios. And then outside this studio, you have 10 people that are depending on you and on a salary that cannot be able to even take you home. So what are those things you must be able to do to keep this beautiful smile you have on your face, and then create those alternatives that can be able to hedge you going forward?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your opening remarks. Jume actually, took us on a roller skate, but I want to draw us back. Yes, I want to draw us back. Let me, take my conversation to Professor John Alabi, who is a management consultant joining us via Zoom from Lokoja. Prof, good to see you and happy. Oh, from our studio in Lokoja. Happy New Year to you, sir. I'm just wondering if you could just share with us how your personal expenses last year went, and if there were some expenses that you had to do that actually threw you off balance.
I can't hear the last part. Yes, the later part of the question freezed out, but I can hear you asking me how was my personal expenses 2024, and if there are other expenses that threw me off balance, how they manage it. I want to say and emphatically that yes, I have expenses. Maybe I'm opportune to be a bit financially literate, and I prepared for some of the expenses. So essentially, I do not have expenses that threw me off balance wholesale, but the vagaries and the uncertainty, inflation in the economy affected my plan. So I want to say that managing my personal finance was, for me, a function of what are my goals for 2024. I set them out in black and white. Simple as they were. Not as a consultant now, but as a man who has 4 kids, as a man who has children in university, and some who are also doing their national service. And of course, I have a wife and a home to maintain. So I had to draw my personal budget, as it were. I want to say that personal finance is a function of first planning. Whatever it is you earn, no matter how small it is, you need to plan on how you proceed. And that is the fundamental, that you are rich or poor, not minding where the weather hit off in 2024. So for me, I had a budget and a plan that I follow religiously, as it were. But I must say to you that the vagaries, the bashing, the regulation, the reforms of the economy, and the affected prices of commodities and some other items I need to work with. Therefore, I have to recalibrate and re-strategize, as it were. I was able to do that because, again, I have an element of financial literacy. But I must say to you that whatever it is you earn, planning is sacrosanct, no matter how small, no matter how big. As a matter of fact, those who don't have at all have a Herculean task in trying to balance and plan very well. So personal financial planning is just that attitude that helps me in planning, in organizing, and ensuring that I coordinate all my expenses to ensure that I meet. Remember, I said I set goals, financial goals, the things, every goal I set, I denominate them in naira and kobo. So those financial goals, how will I achieve them in 2024? I set them down in that order. But intervening events in the economy
allow me. That is why, as a personal financial secretary, I was reviewing my plans as I go ahead. But simply said, you must have a plan. You must control those plans. You must have a financial goal. If you walk through the vagaries of the economy, then you can decide to say, oh, I have achieved this. But my sister, 2024, you know, you are done.
Managing, expenses effectively involves a mix of what you've just said, financial literacy, investing in it to improve financial knowledge. And we're being joined here in the studio by the SSA to the President on Public Affairs, Aliu Audu. You're welcome. Compliments of the season. Happy New Year.
Good morning. Happy New Year. Compliments of the season. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us.
Happy New Year, Nigerians.
Okay, now let me come to, we'll keep you on hold now so that we can talk to Dr. Korede Martins. He's a diplomacy and human capital development expert. Financial literacy, knowing what you want instead of what you need, and all that is a mix of what we need to do in 2024. Like Claire said, how did you spend 2024? I'm going to ask you that.
Yeah, I sure did. Thank you so much for the question. Now, 2024 has come and gone, and during the holidays, those who can, we had swear times with self and family and friends and all that. And it is incumbent on us that 2025 we look at what we need to do, in person and as head of our families, to plan ahead. Whatever it is that we have as a people, it is important that we look at it succinctly and decide on those things that are experienced to do. What are the needs that we have? Everybody's got wants. We have wants, they're insatiable. But our needs are very important to look at. By personal experience, I had a lot of things I wanted to achieve in 2024. But I was able to achieve those that were my basic needs. As someone who is into human capital development. Then I looked at 2025 as a year that I strongly believe that with the movement of the plans of government in the first instance, because whatever government does, it evaporates down to the citizenry. One can enlarge on the various programs of government and then see how you can benefit from same. Then in person, besides government, you can be a private person. A lot of Nigerians, over 90% of Nigerians are into private practices in terms of business, entrepreneurship, consultancies and all that. And we have nano businesses all over the places. So you can plan yourself effectively, plan your finances, and see those things that you are able to achieve within the period. Those should be your focus, your needs, much more than your wants.
I actually thought she meant for you to share with us
your
how you were able to, calibrate your finances in 2024, to meet your financial goals. You had Prof there, telling us that this, of course, the goals were matched with what he had, and of course, given his financial literacy. So how were you able to plan? And for you, what does planning mean?
Planning is everything. Because personally, I was able to plan my year in 2024, and as I said earlier, I had wants, things I actually wanted to achieve, that I ensured that I zeroed down on my basic needs, in cognizance of the realities of the economic challenges that the entire world is experiencing. Nigeria cannot be an island unto itself. So as a citizen of the country Nigeria and that of the world, I looked at those things that I actually need, and by the special grace of the Almighty and my personal determination, I zeroed in on my needs. And I was able to achieve, at least I can give myself an excellent mark of 90%, of those things that I had planned to achieve in terms of needs.
Yes.
I like that you achieved 90%. I don't know how what percentage you're able to achieve.
Me, I'm a planner. I don't joke with my planning.
Okay, let's bring in the SSA now to the president. Motivational speakers will tell you, and I want us to, really talk in real terms, such that people will understand, so that we don't speak plenty English. The motivational speakers will tell you, you will not go far if you do not take track of how you are spending or what you are spending on, or take track of what you are spending. And I asked, so how do you keep up or take stock of what you are spending on? I mean, with the little things like maybe going to buy a bag of sachet water. How do you take track of all of those in a whole year?
Quite frankly, it's quite a lot to do. But we're at the point where we have to bear the pains of doing that, for greater tomorrow. Greater tomorrow for greater number of Nigerians. Because, yeah, you're right, you shouldn't really be, Nigerians shouldn't really be bothered about such. But we equally understand that for a long time, we have been badly managed at national level. And we're never going to get away with it. There were a lot of decisions that have been taken that, logic was turned on its head and sentiments took the better of us. Because we had people in governance, people in government who wanted to just manage their time instead of managing Nigeria. But right now we have a man who is a patriot. You understand what time means, and you understand what it means to be successful. He has been successful all his life due to quality decisions and quality implementations, and quality Q&C, quality control QC, like he's seen it. And it shows in his personal life, it shows in his political career, it shows in the people he has brought up, people who have grown under him, people who call themselves like, a product of his philosophy.
But how does what we are saying now, because we are talking about managing our personal finances, such that people will be, this is a new year, and our belief about January, the month of January, is usually a very long month. It's the time when students will have to go to school. It's probably the time when salary earners would have finished spending their December salaries. It's a time when new house rents will be due. It's a time when you probably have to replace your car. There's so much expected, in the new month. And what we're trying to do is to see and to share from your experiences, your expert,
opinions. Are you married?
Yeah, I am.
How many kids do you have?
30.
So how do you plan? So you are returning to school on the 6th.
Yes, how are you able to plan? How are you as a youth?
You see, for instance, for me personally, like you've asked, it's not something I would love to share with you. Like I have a relationship with the school my kids go to that they know that I will pay. I might not be able to pay as they go, but I appreciate what they do, and I pay substantially, to show commitment that I'm going to finish payment because I appreciate the quality of service they render. Because if I don't pay...
Did you have a budget? Sorry to interject. Did you have a budget?
Because
Dr. Wakaya will tell you, if you don't have a budget, and you heard Prof is also saying, see, you must have financial goal. You must plan. So did you have a budget as at the start of 2024 on financial goals and how much of those goals you were able to attain?
I've had a budget for as long as I can remember, but probably not just on the terms you are referring to. You're looking at your budget in Naira and Kobo. I have always had a budget on value. I know the quality of education I want to give to my children. And I know the minimum level and the maximum level. And if I cannot afford the minimum level, then there's a problem. Then I call for assistance, wherever it comes from. My friends, my brother, my relations, I call for assistance. If I'm worth something in their life, they will support you. Because when people call you for assistance, you support them too. That's what makes us Africans. We don't live in isolation. We are families. We are interwoven. We are interconnected. Tribes, religion, tongues does not define us. We are stronger together.
Indeed, we're stronger together. You know, I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday. I said, this economic downturn is global. You know, we see on TV in America and other places where you see homeless people sleeping outside in the snow. And I told her that, well, here in Africa, there's a little, you know, shock absorber because of our culture. You will not allow your neighbor to go hungry.
Oh,
yes. You will not allow your neighbor to go into problems. It's not the way it used to be before.
We wish we could do more.
But we could do more.
But we still do the little we can do.
The little
right
we have.
now.
So it's a little bit, you know, softer on this in this part of the world. Let me bring in Dr. Okoye to this conversation. Dr. Koyode has said that we should manage our finances, plan it, needs over wants, and Professor Alabi is saying that financial literacy is very, very important. Growing up, I remember, you know, planning. I've always planned my life. You know, I'm different from most of my siblings. I've always planned my life. I don't know how it happened, but my greatest phobia is not having. It scares me to death when I don't have it, because some people have this habit of not asking. You can't ask anybody, no matter how bad it is for you. You feel, I'm going to go through this, because you don't want to demean yourself, but we need to ask for help once in a while. So this financial literacy we're talking about, we're looking at maybe 25% inflation rate in 2025. How do we do this? 15%. I remember Professor Waleke said 15%, and one of our guests said it is not possible to have 15%. Now in the papers we are looking at 25%.
But you know, a lot of people thought some 5 years ago that it was not possible for us to be refining our own crude oil.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
But we are doing it.
Yes.
A lot of people thought it was impossible for Port Harcourt refinery and Warri refinery to kick up, but they are working.
And the World Bank even said it will take us 15 years.
I can go on and on a number of things a lot of people thought were impossible, but are now possible under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
It will only get better.
Exactly, but we have to believe, Iman,
yes,
that we can do this,
yes,
and it will pay all of us.
Yes, Prof. Financial literacy, how do we achieve it?
You see all those your beautiful plans you have, and all those your savings you have. Let me tell you what to crash it. One call from a very distant relation.
Yes.
Auntie Habiba is on life support. We need to raise 200,000. As you're dropping that call, another one comes. This other one has just given birth. The baby has to go into the incubator. You drop that one, another one calls. This other person has just been involved in an accident. And you drop that one as you're looking out of your gate. You say, Haji Anagida, and you have hungry children who says, our mother has sent us to see if he can give us some food. These are the realities of Nigeria. And it crashes everything you've called your financial literacy and plans and focus. Now, I can tell you for certain, let me just jump into a little bit of the 15%. We didn't have any business, entering into a recession in the first place if you have managed, our economy well. And if you are talking about inflation, there are two factors, that drive it. One is productivity. Two are the skills you bring into that productivity. Three is your market share. Now, for a country that has 82 million hectares of arable land, has 80% of its population under youthful age, we should not be discussing inflation. We shouldn't. For a country that is the biggest producer or the biggest producer, one of the biggest producers of crude oil, or has one of the biggest deposits of crude oil and gas, we shouldn't be clapping that we have refineries that are working. We shouldn't. So it is all about this focus and management, which my brother had said the president is bringing to bear. So it's all about how you manage, people and resources. But back to what it is we're focusing on today. There are Nigerians who don't have a bank account. There are people today who do not remember that this is January and that their children will need to go to school. And there are these people that are classified as 133 million that are in multiple, dimensions of poverty. And when you're talking about multi-dimensional poverty, it simply means that these are people who have no access to the basics of life, to transportation, to medical, to healthcare, to education, to even basic food. Now, when you're talking about those people, you go to when Maiduguri was flooded, where you come from, because you have people that are interfacing with you there.
Yes.
And then you can tell that person whose house is under the water, how do you plan to now manage the rest of your time and your day? Now, this is where the social infrastructure of the country must kick in. If you are asking people to plan their lives, you must also now have those support institutions that can be able to support them to plan their lives. And if you read the president or listen to the president in the new year, there was one thing where he acknowledged that we had, our foreign reserves growing. That's very commendable. We have 3 consecutive regimes, of favorable foreign trade. That's what he now acknowledged, that we also had a problem of food and food insecurity. I'm quoting Mr. President. And to that extent, he was now saying that they were planning to now, put what we call the National Credit Scheme, that will now be able to now support people to get credits that can make them to begin to now, probably contribute to the productivity bulge. Now, this is where this conversation should be going. Because if you do not empower people and empower them well, and you're asking them to manage what they do not have, you are going to be fetching water in a dry well. You're not going to be getting anything.
Dr. Kembo, this conversation on a broader scale, yes, I agree with you. But this conversation is about enlightening Nigerians on how to manage their expenses within the exigency of what we have at the moment, within the present situation. If you are a salary earner of about 70,000 naira, per month, how would you manage that salary at this time? Then we'll look at later, what government is doing or should do, to also empower them. But if you are a salary earner, how do you manage that salary that you have? I mean, you should know, that's the essence of what we're doing.
That is why I'm saying that you're being too presumptuous.
Yes.
Now, you are assuming that everybody is on a salary of 70,000.
No, but if you're not...
So what about those who are not employed?
Hold on. Those that are not employed have one means or the other, So even if you are even if you are not employed, you are surviving, you are living. And that is why we say managing your personal expenses within, the available resources that you have. And I like Professor Alabi, yes, to speak to us, because Prof, you talked about, some concepts. You talked about financial goals, you talked about financial literacy, you talked about planning, you talked about budgeting. These are probable concepts that, a lot of people, at the lower income level may not understand, and they need to understand this to be able to manage their finances. So please, can you break it down for us? What does it mean to be financially literate? What are financial goals? How do you plan? What is a budget?
Thank you very much. I think I'm enjoying the conversation, and I want to appreciate your putting all in perspective. And it's very important for me to say, I am a management consultant, I'm a lecturer, I'm the president of an Institute of Entrepreneurship. And what I do in my personal capacity as the only graduate in a family of 19, and the last surviving son of that 19, the only son, is to manage all the 8, 9 different women and mothers and siblings that are in existence. So what I do every year, from 29, 30, 31st, is to sit down. This year is going out. What are my achievements? What are my challenges? Then I now list out what I want to achieve for that oncoming year. And that Those achievements can be in value in century to school, but I will express them in naira form. I want to do A, B, C, D. These are the things I want to do. But what will it cost me in case I want to go into them? Now, those are things. But what I do to bring it down is to a simpler form. Every Nigerian, whatever it is you are currently earning, either by public servant or private sector employee or self-employed, whatever it is, sit down and set your goals and make sure the goals are expressed in simple naira forms. I said to you that what we need to do is to identify your income, identify proposed expenses, talk about what will I do with the income that's coming, if it's enough, if I have extra, can I save? If I have savings, do I just keep them in bank or use them in an investment? Am I owing people? Now, the 4 templates, the 4 quadrants I use to teach people in simple terms is: number 1, budget. What is budget? Your statement of intention in terms of income and expected income and proposed expenses you want to incur. Now, in budget, you create one in simple terms. No matter how, 100,000 is my income from salary. I'll sell pure water, I get 20,000. This is what I expect. You piece all together as income. Go and look also at your proposed expenditure. What are the things you want to spend money on? Itemize them in budget. You create a budget. Then as you go along, you track. Budget tracking is another one. Under the same quadrant, budgeting and tracking. Am I going out of it? Look, if for my family, for instance, I like turkey and chicken. I noticed that it was going away. Let's go for fish. All right? In a particular year, I could not afford meat and fish and chicken. What do? I went like Doc said, you don't have anything. Some don't have anything. Some are in debt already. Look at your debt now. That debt you have, let us prioritize the ones you need to pay. Tell your people that, oh, thank God we have a cultural system that will help ourselves. Go for that debt that you can afford and spread out. It's important. And where you have excess, don't do discretionary expenditure because somebody has bought the latest Camon 300 phone, you want to go and buy. No. Go for the ones that you can afford and make a savings. Another important thing I tell our people, and of course also in Bible, is that one stream of income in this economy is never enough. Are you a public servant? You are on 100,000 or 70,000. Are you a private sector? You are on 200,000. Are you a self-employed? You are making 50,000. Whatever it is you have, that singular source of income will not suffice in an economy that we are now. So look for extra hustles. And what are the extra hustles you can do? You can do entrepreneurship activities. Everybody has got a skill or talent. My students that graduate in university, I tell them, you will not graduate without having 2 skills and have knowledge about entrepreneurship. So that when you get out there and the jobs are not coming, you supplement that with it. And even when it comes, you can do some other things to learn. So we have budgeting and tracking. You have that little debt you want to reschedule and know you don't want to go. Don't take debt that you cannot afford. Try to make some savings. I say to people, saving is a culture that must be imbibed. If you earn 1 million naira a month, if you don't have a culture of saving, you will not be able to save, because the more you earn, the more expenses will come around you. So culture is the same. We must develop attitude of saving, no matter how small. Yes, you may not have enough, but you don't, like we say in Hausa, I share it, don't move it. You don't need your 10 hands. You can prioritize what to do. And as you go along, those are the things you must do. What are we looking at? I'm looking at a situation where, first, I will be financially stable. Like my sister said, I hate go borrowing. No, I don't. I told my family, I said, I had an expenses in this year that was far above my expenditure. The family came together, my wife, my children, this is what we must do. I said, this is way out of it. So, okay, let's look at how we can go around it. All right? It's important. and some of the things I have. So it's important for us to make sure that we plan ourselves, draw your budget, prioritize even your needs. The needs are also many, not even one. Needs are also many. Prioritize the one that is crucial. Avoid discretionary spending. Do a little of savings. Avoid borrowing and taking to debts that are of high interest payment. And as you go along, review it, track your expenditure, drop what you can drop. The ultimate of financial planning is one, you want to be stable. If you are financially stable, then you move on to the next plan. I want to be secure. In case there is emergency, will I be able to take it? And we'll move from there to prosperity. I know the president is doing what? There are institutional requirements in food, in transportation, in student loan. These are the things that the president is doing. Fantastic. They are good. How can I leverage and plug into it? Whatever it is you are doing, you must plan. If you plan to fail, if you don't plan at all, you are planning to fail. But I have a caveat to it. In fact, if you don't plan, you plan to fail in a big way. Your failure will not have part 2. That is the thing. So, generally speaking, therefore, everybody must plan. But in those ingredients are knowing your budget, distributing your needs and wants, and prioritizing your needs. Where you have little savings, please save for the rainy day. Invest. Engage in side hustle, entrepreneurship. One thing or the other. Those will bring income, and you can cushion. And family bonding is very important. Madam, do something. Husband, do something. Together, we move on. 2024 was not easy, but 2025 will be better by the grace of God.
Yes, together we can make it. You've talked about budget review, regularly spending habits to identify areas of adjustment, and that's where I'm going to come to Dr. Korede Martins here, human capital development expert. Areas of adjustment. Nigerians are big spenders. Even if we don't have money, we like spending big money, you understand? So how can we look at these areas of adjustment and begin to adjust in 2025 with the hope that the economy will get better?
Yeah, the economy definitely will get better because we must be optimistic. Now, the challenges we have as a people actually says that it is incumbent of us to look at the adjustment we need to make to those things that we want. In budgeting, as the Prof has rightly said, you have to put a formula that I make use of in context. Your needs, your wants, and your savings. What are those items that are in content within your need? Your needs could be the importance of feeding, because food is important, imperative for every human being to survive. And I use a 60-20-20 formula for your needs based on your earnings. For your needs, 60% ought to be budgeted for feeding, for your accommodation, for your utility bills. And peradventure, you have commitments in terms of loans. You have to try to settle part of it that will not give you embarrassment. And then education, which is very key, your children, self-improvement, even if you don't have children yet, should be part of the 60% of needs. I run an enterprise development institute, an entrepreneurship school in Abuja, and these are the things we talk about. Then your wants also, which are insatiable. You want to be as shining as you ladies are. You want to put on...
I want to travel, I want to go for holidays, I want to...
go Thames for Transcorp Hilton to have your lunch, 20,000 naira per plate and all that. Those are wants, those are things you want to change your car, to a higher grade. Those are wants, they're insatiable. 20% for that. Then the last 20% on my 60-20-20 formula should be for savings. Imperative that we save for the rainy days, for the purpose of exigencies. Things that could happen to you unexpectedly, you have to do that. Then benevolence should be part of the savings. Doc said earlier that people come to you and say they need help. We're in Africa, and we know our challenges. People do come and say, cap in hand, I need support. Within your means.
Don't go overboard.
Don't go overboard. If you go overboard, then you're shooting yourself in the foot. So just do normally what can make that person to survive, subsistence, is what you should give. You are not the almighty creator, so you cannot, within your modest means, take care of the entire need of people that comes to you for support. After you also go to people, requesting for one support or the other based on what you require. So I like to say that if we are guided by this 60-20-20 formula, then the challenges that we have, those concerns that we have, that we're not able to take care of, this graph will definitely help us. We know that majority of Nigerians are not employed. We know a lot of people have needs, as the case may be. But you have to look inwards, what you can do. I know a couple of people who came in from the far north. They were affected by insecurity. Parents murdered, villages decimated, and they trekked and hitchhiked before they got to Abuja. Over 50 of them. But currently, when they wake up in the morning, they get into town. They go look for menial jobs. And by the time they return to where they are managing, they come with 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 naira. In the mornings, they have their breakfast, evening, they have their dinner. Painstakingly. And if you check out how much they are making, they are saving, you'll be surprised that a civil servant, a public officer, who makes over 100,000 naira a month, cannot match up with their savings, as the case may be. So that one is challenged economically is not a deterrent for your life, for your success and your progress. And you have to take that personal will to want to get up and do something that you are capable of doing within the means. That is for the personal.
Dr. Korede Martins, thank you. And I like your I don't want to say compartmentalization, your ratio. Your ratio is 60-20-20, and I just like to also say that ratio is not cast in stone. I mean, you could decide that your needs could be 50%, others, 50-30-20. It could be depending on what ratio and what your income resources is. And also, your needs could also be you want a car. It could be a mobility, means of, necessity. It could also be that, you want a shelter over your head, so it depends on what you want. But again, Dr. Okengu, SSA said something earlier on, and I'm just wondering within the context of our conversation, if that is economy-wise or planning-wise, in terms of managing expenses. He did say that sometimes, because in his own budgeting, he considers value, rather than denominating it in Naira and Kobo and all that. And then when he's unable to do that, he goes to uncles or big aunties or relatives to help out. And we know that this is a culture that resonates with so many people. But in managing your expenses, is that wise?
Well, you see, this is that thin line. And that's why I refer to Jumai to say, Jumai, all this your determination, all this your focus, falls flat on the face. Because this is a young man that that what he's asking for is for value. He's not asking for that money because he wants to go and spend it recklessly. This is you, Auntie Claire. What that in-law, what that cousin, what that younger sister is asking for is value. I remember that this is within your 60-20-20, like Dr. Martins had explained. In our culture, if you don't, and most of the times it is seen as so, you are seen as mean and stingy and wicked. But if you do, you are seen as being compassionate and playing family, and then seen as somebody who is able to sacrifice. And this is why most of you who are big sisters will say, if I tell you what I've given for you to be where you are, you won't be speaking to me the way you're speaking to me. It's a very popular language amongst us as Nigerians.
So we should actually have, sorry to interject, please. If we are going to run with Dr. Martins 6-20-23, that's 3 columns. With this, we should have 4 columns. The fourth one.
You see, the fourth one is that value that brings freedom. That value you're giving must be able to, and this is what we have, let me teach you how to fish. I don't want to give you fish anymore. This is where that value comes from. But there are 3 levels of a value. Remember that part of a value is that you have a school fees, it's your personal commitment, and you go to the school. A lot of us as parents do it to say, okay, fine. Even schools now, as a matter of practice, no longer expect that school fees as the children are coming back. However, the value we are talking about now is to give an example with what Dr. Martins have just explained. 50 young people he knows, he tied from Maiduguri or wherever they came from Adamawa, or from even, the East. They're in Abuja, parents dead, no help, and they are your neighbors. And they need to start a car wash, and they need an engine to start a car wash. And what that engine will be will maybe about 500 or 600,000. And you decide to take that step of faith. Now, the output will be, would you be donating that as free? Or would you be giving a commitment to it? I'll share a personal story. Around my office, a young woman walks in with a child and says to me, she sells in her garden, she doesn't have any money, to keep cooking. And I made this money without asking. She started crying. I said, why are you crying? She said, you don't even know who I am, sir. I said, make certain that you return this money when you're stable. Now, this is where that sense of entitlement and help must be controlled. Okay, and I insisted that she return the money, knowing fully well I was never going to take it back from her. But I can tell you,
see the level of commitment.
Yeah, this is where you now create this value. And this is what I'm saying to you, Claire, that if we're going to be discussing this, let's us here in this room, trust me, we will manage it. We will keep managing. We will keep managing. But the people who depend on you are not understanding that you're getting more stress. And this is where we have problems. And that 133 million of them, statistically speaking. So how are we able to help them so that we can help ourselves? This is what this conversation should be all about for me. Because
yes, that's because you are a development economist, and we do understand. Sorry, and we do understand your perspective, and you are absolutely right. The 133, marginal, how do you call it now? Disadvantaged Nigerians would require a lot of empowerment, a lot of opportunities. Yesterday, we had a conversation here, and the SSA to the president on, I think, youth leadership or something, she was here to read out a whole lot, and we're wowed, by the initiatives, that the government has brought up for the youth. For the youth. According to her, the only thing the youth needs to do is to go online, search for these opportunities. So I agree with you. We really need to discuss that, and I'm sure that one of the editions of Good Morning Nigeria will solely devoted to how we can help this marginally disadvantaged Nigerians.
130 million, and the president has said he wants to take more than 100 Nigerians out of poverty. And in his speech, New Year broadcast, I heard he said to achieve this, the federal government will establish the National Credit Guarantee Company to expand risk sharing instrument for financial institutions and enterprises. These are weighty words. These are weighty assurance for Nigerians going into 25. Let me bring in the SSA now. Aliu, how do you into this conversation? What does this mean for Nigeria? How excited should Nigerians be with this kind of commitment from the president?
Very excited, actually, because when you look at, I think that's a higher level compared to the credit corporation. There's already consumer credit corporations. And a number of discussions today as to basic needs of the average Nigerian is being taken care of by that. I say this because if you remember clearly during Mr. President's campaign, he said one of the ways we can curb corruption is the introduction of credit system, where people don't have to pay 5 million down for a car, 50 million down for a house. I mean, for a civil servant, how long is it going to take you legitimately to save 50 million? Let's be honest.
Let's be honest, yes.
When you are not hoping to cut corners, demands of money for contracts being given out, it's going to take your lifetime. People will never get it. So what he's saying is, as a citizen working at a certain level, you deserve a certain quality of life. So the government is betting on you that you have that life from the point you know you can pay periodically for it. That's also obtainable in developed countries. You know, when you go to shops, malls in the UK and the US and you see people spending cash, they are black, so chances are 5 over 10, 1 over 2 they are Nigerian.
Yes.
You know, but he's saying, he's introducing credit system and creating guarantees. You know, let me even tell you what the credit system is. There are a lot of companies that are going to take advantage of this. Currently, you find out that there are a lot of credit, informal credit services online. You know, you open all of these PSBs, and like, oh, we can give you 32,000, we can give you. All of that are going to now be formalized, but it's going to be based now on your creditworthiness, as a citizen. How much can the country bank on you, count on you that you will get this money and you will be paying back as you earn your money. But the need will be taken care of as you go on. Because see, let's be honest. When Mr. President said that we can't keep budgeting our national budget on what we hope to make. Let's try realistically to budget it on what we need to get the best of ourselves.
What we need
to get the best of ourselves. That might be over what we have. But if we look closely, we can look at ways we can improve on what we have. I mean, if you look at the budget right now, then you look at the previous budget, you see that it's on the increase. Because it's determined that the quickest we can hit a $1 trillion economy, the better for all of us. Because it means, there are jobs that are going to be created. See, I think he sees a time where federal government will even be forced to say, oh, civil servant minimum wage, you don't have to spend 40 hours a week at work. Because not 70,000 is worth 40 hours. Do you understand? Because jobs are going to be available for people to do, and they are going to be private sector driven, where people like my elder said here, like people have the concept of saving, because from your savings, investment will kick off, and government spending will add to that. And all of this will create jobs and strengthen. And with the tax reform that he has proposed for the year, we're looking at least 90% of Nigerians are going to have more, to spend. Because it's basically saying, if you are earning certain amount of money, substantial amount of money, don't pay nothing to government. Because we don't think you're earning enough to address the rising cost of living from, removal of subsidy and equalization of foreign exchange. So don't pay certain amount of money. Hold it. Even if you are a business, don't pay certain amount. Don't pay tax to us, as a matter of fact. Don't pay nothing.
So in that way, Nigerians will be able to manage their expenses in 2025. We'll take a break now. Let me pause you there. We'll take a break. When we return, our conversation on managing personal finances in 2025 will continue. Don't go away.
Environment, to be honest with you, has been extremely hard on most Nigerian women's businesses, and of course hard for a number of reasons. There is no way you will increase or move subsidy and increase the price of fuel that it doesn't have the counter effect. It has been very challenging for so many women. I know that a lot of them have cried in one way or the other to us to find ways of intervening. But that is not to say that it is all doom and gloom. We will still have a few percentage of women that are thriving in this economy, but we hope that we'll be able to get a larger percentage. One of the things I've seen with even our local purchases now is that people are buying more made in Nigerian options of food, of clothing, and so on and so forth, than the imported. So that again is helping some of our industries thrive. Surprisingly, the telecommunications is still doing well. And the reason is very simple. A lot of people are going for online options of skills in terms of training, communications, even remote working. And so you will see that people that provide services around those areas also thrive. But I think at the end of the day, it's about partnerships, collaboration, and influencing power from especially the private sector and even the public sector. But we really need the public sector to drive a number of things, especially policies, because the public sector has the national spread above even whatever we can do in our own small way. What has happened over the years is that even the government, for example, is being pulled from different angles by all these stakeholders. We need to harness ourselves to have strategic focus areas, and we should all be moving in the same direction, not using a competitive approach, but a collaborative approach. Secondly, in collaboration, we need to move with large clusters of decision makers. Instead of, the process of reaching out to individuals is painstakingly long and it takes time. And so we need to engage these stakeholders on a larger platform. I think it's very important to identify where you can get help in your own little way. And one of the things I've realized is that when you operate in silo, it is difficult for you to lift yourself out of the situation. Identify ways you can do what you are doing in a simpler way. And if what you are doing is no more profitable, why not find out what can you do in the meantime that will help you? You need to think outside the box and then connect. What you can do is also identify people and become a cluster to provide a service that ordinarily you cannot do alone.
The federal government of Nigeria warns vandals of national assets, electricity transmission towers, cables and other facilities to desist from this act of sabotage. Vandalism is a serious crime punishable under the law. Vandalizing electrical equipments will affect millions of Nigerians, including your loved ones. Remember that national assets belong to all of us, hence the need to protect them. Report all cases of suspicious movement around electrical facilities to security agencies. When you see something, say something. This message is from the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation in collaboration with the National Counter-Terrorism Center, NCTC, Office of National Security Advisor.
This Saturday, Crystal Palace.
Stephover's got him away from Greaves. Oh, what's a match?
Chelsea.
Okay, Palmer, Jackson, 1 minute, Faith to Chelsea, and Jackson squares in.
Crystal Palace versus Chelsea. Live on 40 TV. 40Bet sponsors coverage of the English Premier League.
Wow, welcome back, and we've been having very interesting conversation right here in the studio and outside the camera. But again, Jubail raised issues, Dr. King raised issues. In fact, he was giving us a scenario where, for instance, you went to the market yesterday and the price of maybe 2 liter oil, sold for, maybe 7,000 naira, and then you go there today again, there's a price increase of about 15,000 naira and all that. And that brings me to my next question, which I will direct to Professor Adabi, on unexpected expenses and how do you adjust your financial plan when you have these unexpected expenses? And of course, how do you prioritize your financial decisions?
Well, thank you very much. Two questions in one. Unexpected expenses, how do I address it? and how do I prioritize my financial decisions? Let me take the first one, and that is very, for me, it's a bit simple to do. How do I ensure that I meet that? All the speakers have alluded to the fact that we have cultural affinity in Nigeria, we are faith-based people, you know. For me, I know that one I argue is personal. So it's either your principle is that you want to be of assistance to people and to give, because I'm the product of that. I lost my mother at 4.5, and I dropped out of school at 11, and today I'm a professor. So I've said to myself, as a personal principle, and anytime I see anybody in need, I want to assist in whatever I can do in a little way. So again, we are faith-based. The religious books tell us that we should be our brother's keeper, and above all, we have a culture that we want to put people along. Now, where there are unexpected expenses, I agree with Dr. To an extent, 60-20-20. For me, it's 50-30-20. 50, because of the exigencies of the Nigerian economy now, I've reduced mine, all right, to 50. Then I increased discretionary spending to 30, and my family knows about that. Because I want to be of assistance, I want to see whether I have unexpected expenses and discretionary one that I can do anytime. Then savings and investment is my 20. So for my basic needs and utilities is 50. If I'm going beyond that, I'll change. I'll start prioritizing it. And I think they're going to. For instance, I give you two quick examples. I love Semolina Semolina. The price has gone AY. So what I do, I am a professor in entrepreneurship, all right, and I teach it. What I do, my wife, corn is edible, cassava is edible. I have a span of land in my front end. I plant yam and cassava and corn. I bring it home. Please, I have a company called Loge. I said, let me teach you how to do Loge Vita. Start with a ratio of 70-30. 60-40. Mix your cassava and corn together, and you get my own Loge Vita. That satisfies an alternative for what? To Semovita. What does cassava do? It's a stickler. So more of corn and a little bit of cassava until I get the drawing and stickler nature I want. And that's it for me. And it goes on. I've told you about meat. All right? I have an alternative for it. Then, of course, for drinks. Yes, oh, you are a professor, you are a wife, a doctor, so when you serve us, you must give us 5 alive and all that. I said, no, I've been told that hibiscus flower works every day. So it is going to be Zobo. Everyone that visited me this year through Christmas, it's Zobo special. In fact, you need to have a taste of my wife's Zobo. You will love it. I need to look at that. So when there are exigencies and they come on board, I will. Sir, I've said it again, I'm saying it again. Saving is a culture you must imbibe. For me, I do side hustles. Yes, I'm a lecturer in university on just 400,000, less than $500,000 in a month, for instance. It can't go far. I'm into consulting. I facilitate. I also do small entrepreneurship. Like I told you about Loge Vita, I have a small. I just mixed. And people are buying my Loge Vita because it's working for them. It's food. All these side hustles, we are able to meet expenses. In December, I project that people do not only need empowerment, but they need so much infrastructure during festive occasions, particularly from November, December. So what I do is to say the salary for that month goes for it. I've been doing this for over 18 years. I can't stop now. So what I do is to say, okay, these are unexpected expenses that will come, and it's going up. I used to give a keg of oil before, when it was 2,500. When I lecture, I can get a keg for 50. Now it's about 50-something. So I say now it's going to be one bottle of 75 liters. The rice is going to be 5 modules, now 3 modules. It's traditional in my own area to give 3 tubers of yam. There is no culture that says it must be 3. I've come down to 2. Except you are high up, I will make it 3. What am I saying in essence is that there are unexpected expenditures. You must project for it. It's also important that you track your expenditure. Sometimes you don't have a need for anything. The issue of prioritizing your needs is very, very important. Your financial goals and objectives. Let me say to this, the essence of financial goals is to ensure that as you go along, you are not disgraced. You don't go cap in hand begging people. I've told you, I'm saying this all sense of modesty. I'm the last surviving son of the family, and at my age, I have 8 women and so many siblings to take care of. I do not borrow. I have serious aversion for borrowing. And I tell my wife, I say, if anything happens, where do you go to? Just go to professor. Professor that a Tyler is earning more than I'm earning in a month. But I do all this side also to make ends meet. So I prioritize my financial goal. The things I cannot afford, my children. If you cannot go to a private university, you go to state university. Look, some say, all the children of professors are in one private school and they are paying 340,000 naira in secondary school. So why must I do that?
Prof, thank you. This is probably my last question to you. And it's, first of all, Nigerians don't, have this culture of saving. How do they start? And then secondly, for you, you had a choice. Most women will either go for vegetable oil or granite oil. For those who don't have a choice of other, form of oil, what do they do?
Yes, you are being specific now. For oil, isn't it? For oil, either granite oil or palm oil. That's right. Yes, if you cannot do, a lot of us will believe that, what we need to do for all my things, I must use granite oil. Yes, again, you can decide to prioritize those things you need to fry. As a matter of fact, we have been told that as you grow higher, we should avoid fried things. Whatever it is you want to use, be modest about it. If you are doing a gallon, you are doing, look, you use it. A lot of people have seen a lot of people who fry chicken and put the oil into like way of keeping somewhere else. No, why do you do that? If you cannot use it, give it to someone else. You can still use that same oil for other things. And you can also avoid frying all the time. Particularly the people talk about the use of the gas. Today we thank God, we don't use firewood again. We have impoverished things we are using. So I have just said, generally, you must set your goals. Don't cut your coat according to your size. But according to your coat, because if you want to sew agbada, and you know that coat is just 2 years, then go for a top, and you'll be fine. One other factor I use in prioritizing my needs is that I partner God. I partner the Creator. Those that know their God, they shall be strong and do exploits. You can't do it alone for yourself. You have to seek help from God.
Indeed, Prof, you can't do it alone. We have to come together to be able to survive in situations like this. Let me come to Dr. Korede Martins now. Saving is very, very important. There's a culture we need to imbibe in Nigeria, no matter how little you have. Because I remember we used to go and braid our hair. At the place where we braid our hair, you see the women saving 200, 300. These people will come, they will come with they come with their bags and they will be collecting. And at the end of the year, they collect huge amounts. Most of the children of these women who used to braid our hair are graduates today, medical doctors, engineers. And so how do we begin to cultivate the habit of saving, no matter how little you have? If you can save a little out of it, in a rainy day, it might come in handy, don't you think?
Definitely. That is one of the good sides of the economic challenges that we have in Nigeria. But it naturally teaches you by yourself, for yourself, to imbibe the culture of micro-saving. You need to put aside, set aside some part of your earnings, no matter how little they are. I frequent a place that they have a lot of micro businesses. You find women coming as early as 6 a.m. to cook, find men doing a lot of things in terms of little entrepreneurship businesses. At the end of the day, they have about 3 other persons who coordinate their activities. And they come to these people people to save. Whatever they might have earned from 6 in the morning till 10 p.m. when they close, they take part of it. They do their 60-20-20 ratio, and then the 20% of it costs at about 7,000 naira at the end of the day. So imagine how much they have actually made in the day. From the 60% is where they take care of how they replenish the market for what they're going to cook the following day and all of that. So this economic challenge that we have in the country is a positive whip, in a way, to tell us that it's incumbent on you and I to say,
we whipped it off?
Yes, we will soon get out of it, but we need to imbibe the culture of savings so that we'll have something to fall back, on. And in savings, you look at how exorbitant the price of things have been so far. How it has been said earlier, during the break, that today you go to the market, get an item for 5,000 naira, go there 2 days after it goes for 7,500, another 1 week 10,000 naira. I'd like to ask us, is it not because of the increment, the removal of the oil subsidy in Nigeria that brought about increase in the first instance of essential commodities? Since the oil subsidy has been removed, has it been removed again? Has the government put upon us additional responsibility that will bring about, that you could say as an excuse, to bring about indiscriminate increase of price of basic things that we require as a people? So I'd like us to look inwards to ourselves, our traders, those who are middlemen between the manufacturers and the consumers. The middlemen need to be chided for this, because you just can't be doing this. You can't just be, putting blame on, say, price of oil and petroleum has gone up. From when the pump price was adjusted about a year ago till now, has the pump price gone up? Rather,
it has gone down.
It has gone down recently. So why is it that our products, the basic needs that we do need, are not coming down?
Okay, let's quickly get Dr. Kengu. Sorry, Dr. Kengu, I want to take the issue you raised. I want to ask the SSA, because Dr. Kengu talked about those who are not salary earners, who fall outside the net of salary income earners. And there are many in number, whether we like it or not, those who are also into small-scale businesses and all that. And we know that we are not a credit-driven economy. Like other countries where you have, credit facility at a very affordable interest rate. Here, the interest rates are so high that even those who may plan, who have a budget, would not have credit loan, available on their budget plan. So, what opportunity is available for this category of people?
As we speak currently, the outcome of the fiscal reform and tax and fiscal reform committee headed by Mr. Taiwo, Professor Taiwo, came out with a number of, if you look at the tax bill, outside the tax bill, a number of recommendations. And the good thing is that they've been charged with ensuring implementation too, so that they're not like the other committees that we set up and just submit reports and go to sleep. But right now, they're trying. If you see how he's been going around trying to explain it, you want to trust him with implementation. To answer your question, it's just the fact that a lot of these people are largely informal. They are not captured in the system. And what this does is that it causes distortion in macroeconomic indices, even microeconomic indices.
So even at the micro level.
Yes, it makes it hard for planning. It makes it hard for national planning. For now, as it is, apart from with all agricultural demands to lend hands to people, ideally, people should be able to access credit. when federal government came out to say that they had given 5 million households, that's 25 million Nigerians, 25,000. There was this huge cry like, oh, it's not possible. But it is possible. It is. Because World Bank watched that. What I'm saying is, identity management is critical to our national development at whatever level. Large percentage of this we are talking about are not captured in our database. You can't plan with them. You can't plan. You don't blame country for not being able to plan with people whose records they don't have. If we are being honest.
No, we're not blaming them.
No, but my point is, as they become formalized into the system, ideally, the system will cater for them. Because right now we have a number of credit access schemes of Mr. President being open to micro, nano businesses, like just support them to keep them going, even if it's just to feed one person and plus one person.
We have to let Dr. King will help us, yes, because I know this is another area where you hire interest.
The single register, when it was initiated by the World Bank, was introduced in
National Register.
Single register. So it stands for the most vulnerable.
Okay.
And out of the 7 national consultants, I was one of them. Before that project was taken to the office of the president, and then the humanitarian agency was created. And one of the things that I argued since then is that the major challenge we have is that until every Nigerian becomes a citizen and will stop using the word masses, we might not get any of these programs right. Because in a country of over 240-something million people, 5 million is like boiling a cup of rice in a big pot. Nobody is going to get the rice, nobody is going to eat it, and the pot might even get burnt. As well intentioned as the president is, data and primary data collected from real sources are very critical. At the beginning, we build the data of what we call death and birth. So that when you're planning, every other thing you want to plan that is not done against this, you're not able to now identify those 100 million people that you want to pull out of poverty care. There will be masses. This is the primary challenge that we have as a country. But going forward, every other thing that we're going to be doing is based on productivity. If you listen to Prof when he was talking, he was basically talking about homestead agriculture, that he's able to get some tubers of his cassava, some tubers of his yam, and he's giving what he's doing a name. Now, if he scales that up, he does not need to be dashing people Lego Vita. He can now begin to now get everybody to become part of that value chain of his Lego Vita. If you have 1 hectare of land, you can plant. You have 2, you can plant. And then productivity begins to now drive, those people that you have not identified that can pull out of poverty. So in answering your question in simple things, you cannot save if you don't work, if you don't aim. And everybody can aim if they become part of that productive value chain.
Indeed, if they become that part of that productive value chain, and I believe this is a wake-up call, like Dr. Korede says, the whip will be whipped. So it's a wake-up call for us to sit up, try to take care of our expenses year in, year out, and ensure that we are not a liability to everyone. Gentlemen, it's been a beautiful conversation. Dr. Emeka Okongwu is a development economist. Thank you so much for your insights into this conversation. Aliu, I will do SSA to the President of Public Affairs. We appreciate you coming on the program. We'll have more of you to come and talk about issues like that. And Dr. Korede Martins, diplomacy and human capital development expert. Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
From Lokoja, we're joined by Professor John Alabi. He's a faculty, he's a management consultant and chairman of Council Institute of Classics Entrepreneurship in Nigeria. Thank you so much, sir, for your advice and insight into this conversation.
You need to bring some of those
Yes,
Vitas.
you need to bring some of those, you know,
Vitas.
Yes, Lego Vitas.
Lego Vita.
Yes. So, thank you so much, sir. And that's it, how it's been on Good Morning Nigeria today. Very interesting conversation. I hope you learned a tip or two on how to save and manage your personal expenses and do more yourself.
I definitely have. I'm Claire Adilapa Abdulrazak. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Of the ruling is also dependent on another aspect or another arm of government.
Nowhere in the world will allow under digital economy for banks not to be dispensing domestic currency in that economy.
What will make this one different?
We want